It's the Bob Peak thing. Half hour thing. Episode 9. Hey, it's Bob Peak, and this is a special episode of my podcast. This is episode 9. This week, March 13th, is the full release of our musical, the HeyBobby project with Gina Del Vecchio, the Unclouding of Otilla Vanilla. And for this episode here, I'm going to be talking to Gina, my partner, executive producer. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to check in with producers Edmond Clare and Georgann Ireland. Here's a little bit of my interview with Gina.
Yeah, so it's all good. And how have you been?
So I was thinking about when we met, and my recollection is that I had hired Keith Hatchek to produce 5 of my tunes, and that was at I think that was called Bayshore Studios.
That's right.
And remember Reiner was there?
Yes.
And he brought you in to sing "Baby It's Fate."
That's right. That I was going to ask you. I'm like, was "Baby It's Fate" the first thing we did?
Yeah. That wasn't the first thing we did. I didn't even know you. In fact, I hadn't met you when you sang it.
That's right.
But I heard it, and then I said, "Shit!" Me and Lisa heard it. Said, "We gotta work with this chick, man." Like "You Leave Me New."
It's hard. If you asked me to pick a favorite, I would waffle because I have several favorites. Like that song sits in the absolute perfect register for me.
Right.
The whole opera is so challenging because from the lowest note in Big Shooter, to the highest note in something, it is like my full range.
Right.
Like I had to work for it. I couldn't go in the studio and just, mail this stuff in, call it in, as they say. So I love the range of that, and is it the pre-chorus? Like, Chilled Wine, Good Time? Would you consider that the pre-chorus?
Yeah, I think I would. It might even be the chorus.
I just love how that cadence moves.
Do, 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 do. The room was shaking as we fell up through the sky. I remember thinking we drank the ocean dry. Lips just a breath away from telling one more lie, till resurrection hit me right between the eyes. Do, 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 you leave me new. Do, 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 you leave me. Chilled wine, springtime, ultra fine, good times, all the time, every time. You leave me new. Do 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 do. Swaying to Babel when the curtain rose again, humming me an elegy to the lovers of never win, tapping my brain like a conga in a rhythm that doesn't end. If I was a believer, I would have shouted amen. Do, 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 you leave me new. Do, 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 you leave me. Chilled wine, springtime, ultra fine, love lines, every time, all the time. You leave
What about Don't Try to Save Me?
Another great one. I mean, I am one lucky singer, I'll tell you that, because I've had such a just delicious range of topics and styles and all. You're such a force when it comes to writing, and so many styles. Lyrics are so cool. And what I love about Don't Try to Save Me is it's like this really anthemous, don't try to save me because I'm okay. And I get to do some sort of FU, little throw off attitude things, which are super cool.
Which is you.
Yeah, well, I mean, is it, or is it the man who helped me find my voice?
If I'm lying on the cutting room floor, or maybe I love the wrong kind of people or use the wrong door, don't you worry, I'm doing what I do. What's your hurry to make me more like you? Don't try to save me, 'cause I'm okay. Just let me live my life my own way. I'm really okay, more than okay, super okay, okay? So piss off, man. If I'm dancing right next to the grave, or if it seems I'm someone's master or their willing slave, don't you worry, keep working on yourself. What's your hurry to change my private hell? Don't try to save me, 'cause I'm okay. Just let me live my life my own way. I'm really okay, more than okay, super okay, okay? So fuck off. You don't know where I'm going or what I'll do when I get there. Bet your ass I'll be perfectly me anywhere, anywhere. Don't try to save me, 'cause I'm okay. Just let me live my life my own way. I'm really okay, giant okay, hugely okay, outstandingly okay, ridiculously okay, off the charts okay, okay. I'm really okay, more than okay, super okay. I'm really okay. So back the hell up, 'cause I'm really okay.
What about Soft Time of Year?
Oh, another one. That one just really let me get into more of, sort of my soft ballad voice, which I'd say a lot of people if they listen to our catalog, would probably be struck by, if you asked them to remember what did you remember about it, a few months later, right? They listen to the whole catalog. What do you remember about Gina's voice?
Yeah.
Probably you're going to get some comments about just, the power, the belting, the rockness of my voice, because that really is, can be pronounced.
Oh, yeah.
But if someone knew the part of the catalog where we were doing the 50s country, Leave It All to Mary,
Oh, yeah.
Forget About Me. That was really the first time that I had the opportunity to, sort of have more of a soft ballad country approach.
In the soft time of night, veils of life, warm come streaming from your eyes, with an echo of the tears that you cried for the lonely. In the soft time of night, wind moves my curtains like the yearning in your sight, or the sweet wings of desire, and the lies of an angel. Ooh, like the cold autumn leaves, you've ridden that sad breeze. Come land where my heart is yours. In the soft time of night, I lay awake with the singing of your dreams, from the wheat fields of the sun to this love sent from heaven. My heart is yours.
What about Broken?
That one, I felt like, well, I'll tell you something that you may or may not, I don't think you know this, but during the time that we were, hauling over to Oakland to do the recording at the Tea House in Retta's studio,
Right.
I had a friend who had unfortunately suffered a psychotic break late in life.
Wow.
And I had been part of the team the day before to get my friend to a psychiatric hospital.
Wow.
And the next day, I drove over, and you didn't come to that session. And while I missed having you there, I also was sort of like moody, just tired and just kind of bummed about my friend.
Right.
And the song that we were going to record was Broken.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, being in this little vocal room with these heavy velvet drapes, and the light is really low. And I'm just, in there with these, I can't see anybody,
Right.
In the dark with these earphones on. And Broken, the topic of it, yes, I'm broken, but it's, I'm gonna find someone else like me. And it was just so moving and cathartic.
I'm looking all the time for a heart that's broken like mine. When I see it, I'll know by the cracks you don't want to show. Pass around like bad money till you need, but don't want to be alone. Yes, I'm broken, all apart, but I'm hoping to find the same heart. Till the pieces that don't fit come together bit by bit by bit. Yeah, I'm broken, are you broken? This city tears you down, keeps you climbing up to the ground, and it's hard to stay sunny. Terrified you end up alone. Yes, I'm broken, all apart, but I'm hoping to find the same heart. Till the pieces that don't fit come together bit by bit by bit. Hey, I'm broken, are you broken? Wait, I'm broken, are you broken? Passed around like bad money. Oh, I don't want to be alone. Yes, I'm broken, all apart, but I'm hoping you got the same heart. And my pieces that don't fit come together bit by bit by bit. I'm telling you, I'm broken, are you broken too? I'm broken, are you broken? I'm broken, are you broken?
How about the last one? Everything.
Another beautiful one. I mean, when we first talked about doing this project,
Yeah.
and you had written Anyone Else But Me, and you
Right.
asked me to record that. And
Yeah.
I was up at my mom's house. She had passed a few months earlier.
Right.
And I was up there by myself, and I recorded this. Man, were we still in COVID?
I think so.
I think we were, and I recorded it, in my little home, Apple studio.
Right.
And we just loved it. And when we got together, and I said, "Hey, Bobby, we should just do a whole record of this kind of stuff."
Right.
And little did I know that, you would write this dynamic story. And if you think about it, from anyone else but me, through all the songs we've talked about to everything, it's like this beautiful swooping, bird of paradise. You think about that, anyone else but me, and it's kind of cranky and moody and all those things, and just everything. It's like this sweeping, beautiful ballad that again lets me get into those parts of my voice that I don't think, people would think I had, right?
Every second of the clock is a key to every lock. Every heart too close to see is an open book to me. I live, I love, I breathe, I need, I love, I live, I see, I feel my happiness is hard-won gold. My power, secrets never told. My art, the unknown truth above. My fire, the mysteries of love. Yeah, there's always something to fill your eyes with fear. But if I've learned one thing, as long as I am here, I live, I love, I breathe, I need, I love, I live, I feel, I see
Right on. All right, Bobby, love you so much.
All right.
And
You say hi to the
great
family.
job.
Give everybody a hug. All right. Hey, I'm here with Edmond Clare, who, along with Georgann Ireland, produced the musical, the HeyBobby musical, The Unclouding of Otilla Vanilla. Ed, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Not too much, man. I was just gonna. One of the things I wanted to just put out there here is like, you and Georgianne did so much work and so much great work. Me and Gina just were blown away with the product.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, so like, what did you? What were your duties? Kind of what was Georgianne's duties, and then what did you guys do together?
Right. Well, my duties as producer for most of the projects I work on uh, are usually just kind of establishing the artist's vision. It all started with your guys' stuff. It all started with your great songs, and and where you wanted to take them. And so having worked, in this industry for a really long time, I also worked for a software company for the past, oh my God, since probably 2011 now, still, and I'm still with them.
Uh-huh.
And it's a music software company, and my job for them is they'll shoot me a style. They say, oh, we want it to sound kind of like Nine Inch Nails,
Right.
and I will make a style for their music software. Or they're like, oh, we want it to sound like Dua Lipa, we want it to sound like Taylor Swift. We so many different artists that they want me to nail the style of, and I've gotten really good at that. And what
Right.
that helps, and that ends up helping me help artists define their voice and their style, because if they've got a whole bunch of influences that they are unapologetic about, then we can help blend those influences to something that is uniquely their voice. So many people looking for their sound, and they don't realize that their sound lies within being unapologetic about their influences.
Right.
And so, I just
Right.
help them get there, both artistically and technically too, because I know sound design to help craft that sound. So that
Right.
a lot of people would make a rap song, but working for that company, I would have to know the difference between a Timberland rap song and a Pharrell rap song.
Oh,
You know what I
right.
mean? So the sounds that are used, the sound design, the styles of music that are used to craft that anything,
Right.
and so that's my job. Is
And
is the short version is. I help people get that vibe that they're looking for, and usually it's a modern vibe.
right. And you played. I'm gonna take a guess here. At least 95% of the synths, the synthesizer
Yeah.
work you did, right?
So the synth work is mine. I also composed the proxy guitar parts and proxy bass parts. With keyboard these days, you can come up with anything. You
Right.
can emulate any instrument. So, pretty much the demos start with, you know, um, guitar, bass, drums in your case, and a bunch of synths.
Yeah.
And yeah, I play all of those in.
Yeah.
Um, and that comes from the orchestral background, being able to craft a whole bunch of parts.
I think people are gonna be blown away by the
Oh man, it
soundscape
was
of
such a
this.
fun project, and I think it turned out great. I'm pretty sure you guys think it turned out great too. So,
Like, what would you say to people uh, about this project? What is different about it, and what's going to be the appeal?
what I really loved about this project was that it was different, and it had some, it was, the fact that it's thematic, that there's that it's a you remember the days of the concept album, Pink Floyd and
Yep.
whatnot, and it was
Sure.
revived a little bit by Nine Inch Nails and probably a whole bunch of other artists too, but those are the first two that pop into my head.
Right.
And so not only is it that, it's also a rock opera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that harkens back to a time when, those were happening, and I love that you guys brought that back, and that there's a whole cinematic kind of a world that's happening within these songs and in
Right.
between these songs, and these songs tell a story, not just individually but as a whole as a whole piece,
Right.
and the whole album, as it were, tells this great story. And that's some brilliant writing, and that's a brilliant concept. And I think that's huge.
And some damn good vocals too.
Absolutely. Gina knocked it out the park. You knocked it out the park with your writing. Guys like you and Gina, you make it easy on us. We just help bring it to life.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing, I use this analogy a lot. I probably said it to you guys a few times, but you guys built the house. We just designed it.
There
you
you
know
go.
what I mean? We did the interior decorating.
Yeah, exactly
you
right.
know what I mean? And so, but you guys built that house, and it's a freaking amazing house.
All right, Ed. Well, listen, I really appreciate you checking in here. It was a fantastic working with you all these years. I met you through Howard Posnick, our friend, and hi, Howard.
Hey, Howard. Great guy.
Anyhow,
all of you
man.
are great guys. It was a genuine blast. It was a genuine blast. It was a fun project.
Super cool, man. Well, listen, all the best to you, man. Love you, and you take care, man.
You guys back, and I can't wait to. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for the release, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to love when it comes out.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
All right, have a good one now.
All right, bye. All right, so I am here with Georgann Ireland, who, along with Ed, who we just spoke to, is the co-producer of the Unclouding of Otilla Vanilla. How you doing, Georgann?
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you.
You're down in Nashville, right?
I am. Yep.
Okay.
I am in the Gulch, right in downtown.
Right on. All right. So, one of the things me and Ed were talking about yesterday was like, what was his specific role in the production? Because you guys are a team, you work together, and I know you both wear a lot of different hats. So, how would you describe what you do or what you did on this project?
The first thing that I did was, after I got the demos that you sent me, I started in on making the fully produced demos that we gave to the session players. So Ed and I kind of tag team those, because when I remember in very early production, we had talked about giving different kind of sonic branding almost to different beats within the show, right?
Right.
And so whenever there was a beat that was going to be a lot more heavily electronic, a lot more high production, I let Ed take care of that. But for the ones that were a little bit more acoustic driven, I kind of took the lead on those. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of prepping of those demos, which included playing the acoustic guitar, doing my own MIDI to then send off to the session players, which was really fun. And then I also played acoustic guitar on a couple of the songs. Right. And filled in some harmonies on some of them, wrote harmonies that then Gina ended up singing. You're right, I really did wear a lot of different hats on this project.
Oh,
I feel like it was very collaborative, though.
For sure. And I mean, you threw in some really wild vocals in the background that were just very creative. That was mostly, some of them were you that you kept in there, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ended up, my voice is on this record, which is, a fun thing for me, because oftentimes when you're producing a project, your voice might be there on the demo in the background, but then it gets replaced ultimately. So it is kind of cool that it made it in for some of that, including some of the really high operatic things that made it into Psychotic Space, and then also the big vocal ending of Don't Try to Save Me. I'm in there.
And your laugh is in Psychotic Space. The really scary laugh, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
What about, so talk about a little bit about when we went back and we decided we want to bring in some bigger background choruses on a couple of these tunes, 2 or 3 of them, and then you were out in Idaho at the time, I believe. Mm-hmm. And you gathered up, what about that? How did that work?
Okay, this was really funny because you guys had asked for basically a choir. Now, I was in Idaho at the time, and so at first I thought, well, let me go ask like a Baptist church if I can get them on board to sing. So I actually reached out to a local Baptist church and sent them an email, and I sent them the songs, and I said, hey, we're willing to give you guys a donation if you would sing with your big church choirs on these songs. And it was so funny because I think Broken would have been fine, but one of the other ones was Function of Friction. And I thought nothing of sending that to a church at the time. However, the rejection email that I received, it was honestly the nicest rejection email ever. Because this person was like, yeah, it's just not really on brand for our choir.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, you met another group, or did you put that group together, or was that already an existing group?
Oh no, so I ended up pulling the group together. Honestly, it was a little bit of a ragtag team. I was like, okay, well, now I have to figure this out, right? So I roped everyone. Like, if I knew you and you could carry a tune, I roped you into this project. So I had my mom sing on it. I recorded her at my little home studio. I sang on it. And then also I'm very involved in the dance community in Boise, Idaho. And so a lot of them, I actually asked those people if they would come in and sing as a choir for me. And then one of them had a roommate who she could sing, so I had her. It was very much kind of a ragtag team. Right. And then I knew a couple other musicians just from the area, and so I asked the musicians I knew who could also carry a tune if they would come and sing. So it was very I was like, okay, after you get a certain amount of boy voices, you go, okay, I need more girls. Like, who do I know who can sing who's a girl?
It really came out great, though. It added so much to the record, I feel.
Oh, I do too. It was really fun. And, I remember in very early production, Gina mentioned that she wanted a big choir sound. And so we did some of that between her voice, my voice, and also some vocoder. But then you guys came back and you were like, no, we want it to be even bigger. So, like the blueprint was already there. Yeah. Now, I will say, I was surprised initially that you wanted to put it on the song Broken.
Right.
But after we did it, I was like, oh, this actually really is nice. It really made it fat.
What's the appeal of this? Who's it going to appeal to?
Oh, well, I've been saying since the beginning, I feel like this should ultimately get picked up by the film industry and be an original rock opera that's, an actual movie.
Georgann, it was great talking to you, and it was
you too, Bob.
A real pleasure working with you.
Oh, it was, honestly, I really enjoyed working on that project with you and Gina. It was such a fulfilling project to work on.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. All right, well, listen, all the best to you. You take care, and
thank you.
See you on down the road.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Have a good one.
All right, so that was episode 9. Had some nice combos with my partners in crime, Gina Del Vecchio, Edmond Clare, and Georgann Ireland, regarding the March 13th release of our HeyBobby project musical, The Unclouding of Otilla Vanilla. Check it out, man. It's pretty cool. So until then, be good to everybody you meet. This is Bob Peak signing out.